Welcome to Just Relationships, the show that offers you concrete ways to make your relationships better. Whether it's your boss, your spouse, your children, or your friends, the quality of your relationships in life directly affects how you feel about yourself and the success you achieve. Your host, Dr. Duffy Spencer, a psychotherapist, telecoach, author, and seminar leader, will interview top experts to help you learn to manage this essential part of your life. And now, here's your host, Dr. Duffy Spencer.
Greetings to you. Well, I quit. Yes, I quit. You'll never hear from me again. No, it's not true. I love doing Just Relationships, and I intend to stay for the duration. So you may guess that today we are talking about quitting, and we are reframing quitting as a positive thing that people can do to disengage from something that is not working for them. And I'm very happy to have back as my guest Dr. Stanley Robertson, who is known as the Quit Doctor, and his book is entitled Quit, The Last Principle of Success. Welcome back, Dr. Stan.
Well, thank you, Dr. Duffy, for having me back, and I'm pretty excited to continue our conversation from the last time.
Yes, thank you. Me too. So you were really, in the last show, blowing my mind about, the positive aspects of quitting, and I'm realizing how I have received the message and been conditioned about never quit, quitting is bad. And we looked in the last show about the difference between giving up, letting go. Well, letting go is very different from quitting. In my view, letting go is a very positive thing. And that's when we decide something is really not working for our benefit, as opposed, in my view, to giving up, which means that we still can do something differently. We can change something, but for whatever reason, we don't have the motivation to do so. So what's your take on that, Dr. Stan?
Well, yes, I think that motivation is a big factor in what we do. Now, I know that the last time we talked, I had mentioned about my relationship with my wife. We had been married 32 years. And early in our relationship, I had some marital problems because I do things or did things that probably I should not have been doing, said things I shouldn't be saying. So what I found is that a lot of people, because you had mentioned the idea of a plan B, and I was saying that a lot of people don't like the term plan B because they think that it is an out. And early in my marriage, that's what I experienced. I experienced the idea that if this doesn't work out, fine, I'll just leave. I'll just quit the relationship. But then I got to the point in my mind where I said, a divorce is not an option for me. Leaving the relationship, this is going to work, and that's it. So the idea is this, that plan A is your best plan. If plan A does not work out, instead of having plan B, it may be a good idea just to give up that plan and then switch to the next plan. That next plan is your plan A. So in other words, I don't have to have plan B, because if thing A doesn't work out, thing B is now what I'm going to do. This is my plan. So it's not plan B. This is what I'm doing.
So it's another plan A.
Right.
I hear you suggesting.
Right. So in other words, I can have 10 plan A's, 100 plan A's, because every time I'm doing something, I'm engaged in something, and that thing doesn't work out, the next thing that I do, I'm going to give that 100% effort. That is the thing that I'm engaged in. That is my plan, because that is currently what is happening in my life.
Got it. So you went from saying, well, divorce is an option to divorce is not an option. Is that it?
Right.
And now it's 32 years later, and you're still married to the same lady. And what is that like for you?
Well, that's amazing. Well, first of all, I don't know how she put up with it. Because, sometimes I can be a very strange bird. So, I'll do things and say things, obviously, that is not so great. But I continue to work on myself as much as I possibly can, and I like to try to improve and grow as much as I can. But, I love being married. I can't imagine life without it.
Yes. So, yes, this is an interesting twist because, so you're suggesting that the idea of Plan B, which can sound really good, is not necessarily good if you are not, I'll use the expression, married enough to Plan A to make it work. And at some point, a person, if you practice the Serenity Prayer, can do everything to make something work, whether it's a marriage or a job or a friendship, and then to say it's not working. So I do have to disengage from my original Plan A.
Right. Yeah, that's right. And your new plan is Plan A.
Right. Interesting. It's an interesting framing, which you are just
but
as
one thing
committed
I would like to say, I would like to,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I would like to say that the idea of quitting that we're talking about and that I'm referring to should not be used as an escape hatch.
Yeah.
It's not an out for you to say, I'll just quit willy-nilly everything that I'm doing. No, that would be a mistake.
Yeah.
So I'm not suggesting that. What I'm suggesting is that we as a society stop being ashamed, stop being embarrassed because we have to quit something.
Yeah.
If you decide that something is not working for you, you should feel free to release that thing from your life. So again, I'm not saying that, this should be an excuse for you to jump from one relationship to another or quit this marriage or get a divorce. I'm not suggesting that. If that makes sense for you in your situation, then by all means you should do that. But the idea is that you shouldn't let other people, you shouldn't let external forces or embarrassment or anything else prevent you from giving up something that's going to be to your betterment.
Right. When I put myself through college, I had a teenage marriage from 18 to 21, and my parents were divorced, and that I really had no place to go, and I realized that I had to leave the marriage and that I had no marketable skills, so I had to find a way to pay my own way and go to college, because at that time there were no alternative careers for women. You were either a social worker, a nurse, or a teacher, and all required college degrees at the very least. I never thought to become an entrepreneur in my own business, so to speak. So anyway, that was my idea, and it was hard going to school full-time and working full-time. And I had a big poster by Robert Frost in my bedroom that said, "The best way out is through. The best way out is through." Because, I had, previous to that, taken the easy way out. Whatever was the easier, softer way, I took, and then I amounted to all of nothing, one big nothing, with no accomplishments. And I'm not saying that we should judge ourselves solely by our accomplishments, but I also knew that it was a rocky road to selfhood. My own unique selfhood, but I was willing to take that rocky road. So I think that's also what you're saying, right?
Right. Yes, it is. It is. There are various reasons and various times when a person might quit something. And one of the times when you should not quit, you shouldn't quit just because something is hard or just because something is difficult. If that goal is working for you, then that's when you should push through it. So again, just because the thing is hard or difficult doesn't mean that you should quit doing it. It means that if you continue, as you mentioned, through something that is difficult, it's going to build character. It's going to build competence. You are going to be an absolutely better individual as a result of pushing through that thing. So you definitely want to keep going. You don't want to quit doing things just because it's difficult.
Right. Just because it's difficult. And I remember at the age of 20 starting therapy because I was so miserable in my marriage. And at one point, my therapist helped me to do all the things I just told you, the waiting on tables, the going back to college. And I had told her that I had quit something, and it felt great. I don't remember if it was a course or it was something like that. And she said, well, you know, when we quit something, it's always a sense of relief because we, you know, are not having to do that thing anymore. Yet that doesn't mean that it's necessarily a good thing, just because we have a sense of relief. And that goes to the idea of, as you say, even if something is hard, if it seems to be the right path and it's working and we have a reason and we have a long view, we still will stay with it.
Right. That is true. What I did after I conducted my research on the area of quitting is I developed this process, and I call this my 4-step process on how to be a successful quitter.
Love it. Tell us. Yes.
So, okay, I'll give you the short version. I actually used the word quit, Q-U-I-T, as an acronym, just to help you memorize what's happening. So these are the 4 steps. The first step is Q, and it stands for quit quickly. Quit quickly. And what I mean by that is the moment you recognize, now you should go through the proper analysis. You should weigh your situation. But the moment that you come to the determination that the thing is not going to work for you, you should stop doing it as fast as possible.
Right.
The longer you prolong the thing that you know is not going to work, the worse you're going to be in life. So the first step is to quit quickly. The U is to understand the negative emotions. Now, if we recognize that negative emotions exist, then we can figure out how to navigate around that and still get to where we want to be. And the negative emotions are the things that we talked about actually on the last show. So there's a lot of those things that are involved, you know, like the brain is hardwired for completion, and some of those other things that we discussed. Those are the emotions and the things that go on inside our heads that can prevent us from releasing things from our lives. So that's the U, understand those negative emotions and figure out how to navigate them. The I is to initiate a new goal. So when you give up something, you need to figure out what it is you're going to do. As we mentioned earlier, it's easier for you to give up a job that you hate or to divest from a particular investment or something that you're engaged in. It's easier to quit doing that thing if you know what it is you're going to do next, because you take away the fear of the unknown. So the I is to initiate a new goal. And of course, there's a lot of things involved with doing that. And then the T is to transform your behavior. And that just means that after you figure out what it is you need to give up, you understand how to navigate those emotions, you initiate the new goals, figure out what it is you're going to do with your life. Then you get to that T, which is transform your behavior. That just means that you cannot keep doing the same thing that you did before if the thing wasn't working for you. So therefore, you may have to enlist some new resources. You may have to get some coaching. You may have to get a mentor, whatever it is you need to do. But in any case, you will need to not continue doing the exact same thing that you did before because it was not leading to your success, which is why you had to give it up in the first place. So QUIT, quit quickly, understand the negative emotions, initiate your new goals, and then transform your behavior. And I think that if you follow those 4 steps, it will always lead to your success.
I love it, Dr. Stan. I love how you embraced all your points with that one acronym. And, the idea of not belaboring. So, there's a joke that 3 frogs sat on a lily pad, and one decided to jump off. And how many were left? 3. Because the decision was not the action. Right?
Good,
you can make
good.
Yeah, you can make a decision but not take the action. So what do I bide? I think there is a resolution in biding one's time. I have actually more than one client who is waiting for their college-age students their college-age children who are students to finish college or just actually to go off to college so they can begin initiating a divorce. And it is, and how do I live with someone that I really don't choose to remain as my marital partner, but in this moment in time, I can bide my time and I can look at how we can be friendly with each other and civil and all of that. So sometimes people make a decision, but then they do have an active plan. What do you think about that?
Well, I think that in my 4-step process, the first step, which is quit quickly. The moment you recognize that something is not working, if those 2 people, now, if they believe that their marriage can work, then they should absolutely continue to work on it and try to, figure out what the differences are and make those things work out for them. On the other hand, if they really believe and they know that this marriage is a dead end, this marriage is not going to work, we are 2 incompatible individuals, then they ought to make the decision to end that marriage as quickly as possible. I would not wait until my child, and I understand why they're waiting. It goes to my second point, which is understand the negative emotions. There's these negative emotions swirling around inside of those individuals in relation to divorce. They believe that society will frown on divorce, number one, or also they think that it's going to have some sort of negative impact on their child or their children. But it may be more harmful to the children for them to be and live in this negative environment. Because if 2 people really cannot get along, they cannot make their marriage work, that suggests that they are going to be miserable. They are going to be under a tremendous amount of stress, and that could permeate to their children. So I say, if you believe that it can work, make it work. If you know for a fact we are going to get a divorce, I don't really subscribe to the notion, let's wait a year before we get the divorce, or let's wait 2 years, unless they're waiting because they think they can make it work during that time. But if they have decided, this is not going to work. If you're in a situation that is toxic, that is harmful, that is stressful, stress kills the physical body and it kills the brain cells. So there's mental and physical damage that stress does to the human body. And you should not remain in that situation because things will get worse. And again, those children, especially the older children, they're smarter. They know what's going on. They understand what's going on. They see the dissension, they can feel the tension in the air, and they will also become more stressed. And one other thing I would say is that the parents should make sure that they are in tune with what's going on in the child's life. Because if that child their behavior starts to deteriorate, their grades start to go down, their mood starts to change, they become withdrawn, and those types of things, that could be a sign that those parents are damaging the child by staying together. So anyway, I guess that's a long version of the answer.
Well, yes, I absolutely do agree with you, Dr. Stan. And this is Dr. Duffy Spencer. We are Just Relationships, 90.3 WHPC. And I am interviewing Dr. Stanley Robertson, who is the author of Quit, The Last Principle of Success. And Dr. Stanley Robertson is known as the Quit Doctor, and really offers us a reframing of the positive aspects of quitting, and not just staying in for the duration. And I'm thinking about that another axiom, another proverb. I have to sleep. What is it? You sleep in the bed. I have to stay in the bed I slept in. No, stay in the bed I made. I made my. Oh, you made your bed. Sleep in it. Okay.
Yep. You made your bed. Now sleep in it.
And by the way, in case you all are thinking that I must be really losing my marbles here, I did remember that the author of Plan B, and this is from the last show, the author of Plan B and Lean In is Sheryl Sandberg. Sheryl Sandberg. So you made your bed. Sleep in it. And then we have this old view of loyalty, or, what is your take on loyalty, Dr. Stan?
I think loyalty is important. Loyalty is very important. The idea that you made your bed, now sleep in it, I don't know about that. It suggests to me that once you do something, you're stuck with the thing, and I just don't like that. Because even if you've made some mistakes, even if you've done something that wasn't the best decision, you're not stuck with that. You can move on in your life. So I'm not really a fan of this idea that you made your bed, now sleep in it. I think that in terms of loyalty, that loyalty is an important characteristic. It's an important quality for us to possess. Because if you are a person of good moral standards, then loyalty is a good thing. So I think loyalty, I'm okay with that. Yeah. And the sense of duty, I know you had written about quitting football during halftime and other things you've quit in your life. And you were ridiculed and shamed, and this is a certain hyper performance. Yes, I wanted to address that. We only have a few minutes left, but the idea that we live in a hyper performance based society where quitting is a dirty word. I like that term, hyper performance based. I agree with you very, very much. Yeah, and the idea that we live in this hyper-performance society sometimes can be a problem because we don't want to quit because we think that we have to keep going. It's like you can never stop. It's kind of like the Energizer Bunny. You got to keep going all the time, which, in fact, you don't have to. It's okay to release things. It's okay to give up things. In fact, it's necessary to release things from your life.
Interesting. Necessary to release. Yes. And I'm looking at things I tell my clients about: pruning, reshaping. Yes. You know, we a lot of my clients, people come to therapy when they are making a life transition, wanting to change their life, and I talk to them about doing a lot of seeding. And you don't know exactly what you're seeding. You're exploring a lot. You're experimenting. And then at some point, you do have to prune. So, right, we do have to release some things.
Well, I think pruning is a major concept because the idea of pruning in the traditional notions from the standpoint of gardening is that the weeds will choke out the flowers. So if you don't prune those things from the garden, it can ruin the good things that are there, that you want to happen, that you expect. So I think that pruning is a major concept, and I think that it applies very well to our lives, and that we do need to prune those things that are not working for us so that we can get where we want to be in life. So, that is pretty major.
Thank you. And I just want everyone to know again that I am interviewing Dr. Stanley Robertson, the Quit Doctor, author of Quit, The Last Principle of Success. And you can contact him through thequitdoctor.com. Is that it, Dr. Stan?
Yes, thequitdoctor.com.
Thequitdoctor.com. And if you would like my calendar of events, just go to drduffy.com. My speaking engagements and retreats and classes at Nassau Community College, drduffy.com. So the idea of so many people being loss averse, so many people have lost so much in their lives and are grieving so much that it's hard to discern, what is worthy of losing and what is not. So what is it better to lose, as you say, to release? So that's kind of the wisdom to know the difference, if you will, in the Serenity Prayer, would you say, Dr. Stan?
Yes, I would. And I think that regardless to what it is that you want to release, regardless to what things are working or not working, I think that the key, the message that I'm trying to get across is that no matter what it is that you want to give up, no matter what it is you want to quit in your life, you should feel free to do that. So however you make your decisions, whatever the things are that you need to stop doing, feel free to do it. Don't let society pressure you into continuing to do something out of embarrassment, out of the fear of quitting.
Beautiful.
Feel free. Release what is happening.
Thank you so much, Dr. Stanley Robertson, for a wonderful two-part series on the quitting as the last principle of success. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate your being on our show. Thank you, Dr. Stan. And this is Dr. Duffy Spencer saying goodbye for now and wishing you great relationships.